my name is Brienna. I'm a social worker with the Family Services Center, and I'm going to be meeting with Martina, who was a young girl during the time of World War II and has had experienced a lot of PTSD symptoms because of that. Her son and her close friends recommended her to seek some counseling. This is our first meeting today, and we're going to begin. Hi Martina, my name is Brienna. I'm going to be working with you for a period of time. Just before we start, everything that we talk about will be completely confidential unless I feel, there's any harm to yourself or others, or there's any concerns, So, yeah. So how are we feeling today?
Feeling okay.
Yeah. So your son and you had some friends that recommended you in today. Do you know why, or you want to talk about that?
I personally don't know why, but my son, my friends say that I get a little anxious. I personally don't think so, but
yeah. So what kind of things are making you anxious, or do they feel is making you anxious?
well, when I grew up in my past, I went through World War II during the 1940s, and I was a young girl, and stuff happens. There's exploding cars and bombs dropped around us, so obviously there's some things with that, but I think I got over it, but my son is pushing me, so I'm not completely sure.
That's a very hard thing to go through, and I'm very glad that you're here today. What makes you anxious? Is it when you're at home? What kinds of things is your son noticing that you're doing?
I would say when I get anxious, my son says it's out of the blue, or usually during thunderstorms or rain happens, but I personally don't think I'm doing anything odd.
Right, okay. So just it sounds like anything associated with loud noises that would remind you of those hard times, and that would make complete sense, What kinds of things do you do when you get anxious from these noises?
A lot of times I would, what my son says, but a lot of times I would turn off the lights, because when I was younger, it was just me and my mother and my other siblings, and soldiers would come by in our town, and a lot of times it's because they're coming in for a shelter or safe space, or they're raiding our homes for food or supplies. So an indication of if we're not home or we don't want to be bothered is when our lights are turned off. So a lot of times we would hear loud noises when the soldiers came into our town, or whether planes were flying above us or bombs were going off. We would turn the lights off, and my mother would turn off the lights quickly, and then she would hide us in the closet or under the bed. So my son says that, especially during thunderstorms or rainy or cloudy days, that I would turn off the light, but I don't believe him.
So, yeah, so just like how you used to do when you were younger, you're doing now the role of what your mom would do. You would hear something loud and you're turning the lights off and you're trying to protect you and now your son, right? And does that make you feel better when you do that, when you turn the lights out and then you protect yourself like how you would before?
Yeah, I think a lot of times a mother is a mother in nature to protect your kids.
Yeah.
So my mom did that for me and my siblings. So when I'm in that, state of being back in the 1940s, my head says I'm there. I'm there. It might be the 2000s right now, but when I'm in my headspace, it's the 1940s where there's war and you might die. So a lot of times that when I'm a mother, I have a son now, that I am going to protect my son. He's the first priority. So of course I'm going to turn off the lights and hide him away as well.
Right. And then when you do that, how long would you say this typically lasts until you feel safe again?
I guess that depends, because sometimes during the war, it could last 1 hour, 15 minutes, or a couple of days. So my son tells me sometimes they can last 30 minutes, or he might be under the bed with me for 5 hours. So.
And you're saying like your son says, do you notice like when it's going on, are you like aware, are you present in the moment of what's going on, or is it just kind of something that you just got to get through it and then you remember afterwards?
Yeah, I would say the second part. It's almost like not a routine, but it's instinct.
Yeah.
Like when you're hungry, you're gonna eat. So when I'm fighting for my life, I'm gonna hide. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. And it does sound like your son really cares about you, that he's encouraged you to come and seek counseling. It doesn't really sound like it's harming anybody, but it just sounds like it's coming from a place of just concern that your son wants you to live at peace and, you know, be able to go about your day smoothly. Is there anything that you think would help with that, or is that?
I think that would help would be maybe more comfort from him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know people with, from what I heard, PTSD, you need someone that can ground you. Almost like people with Alzheimer's, you need like, you can feel leveled and grounded when like symptoms come up and you realize you're in reality. So, sorry, there's a dog behind me. So a lot of times, it's a cute dog. So a lot of times, my son keeps me grounded because he wasn't there during the war. So I would say maybe having something grounded in reality from the 2000s to the 1940s.
I just noticed briefly you lit up when the dog walked past. Have you, like, speaking of like grounding, have you thought about getting any type of service animal to kind of help, you know, sense when that anxiety's coming, to help ground you and maybe give you some of that extra comfort?
Yeah, when I was growing up in Milan, we did have a family dog. You know, she was a puppy, so during that time, when the war happened, she didn't make it. So a lot of times when the war was happening, my mom would shove us in the closet and hide us, but I would sneak out and grab the dog to make sure she was with us. And one day I couldn't grab her in time, so she didn't run out in the street. So I think maybe a dog could help.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that we could look into for our next visit. I think that's something that could benefit for you to kind of help sense when, you know, the loud noises are coming, and then help guiding you to a safe space, and making sure that you don't really have to do it on your own, and so that you don't have to go through it on your own. Have you sought out any other type of like groups of other women who have been in situations like yours?
My son's given me pamphlets, but I'm an old lady, I can't travel very well.
And that can be overwhelming too, with just getting a stack of pamphlets as well. So that's something that we could probably like slowly look into, maybe just like a group at a time, and just seeing what fits in your schedule best. But I think that looking into maybe some type of service animal would be very beneficial for you in finding that comfort for you. And when you speak with your son about it, what does he want for you when he wants you to go to counseling?
He wants me to not be in a state of fear all the time, you know, because you kind of lose your mother during that time. She's in a different place, and it's almost like a different person that you've never really seen. So I understand where he's coming from, and I do want to be better for myself.
Alright, so I think that would be a good place to pick up for next week when we meet again. And I think sticking with like weekly meetings will be best for now, and then yeah, we can just see where it goes from there. But it was really great meeting with you today. And is there anything else that you would like to talk about before we close off?
Is there like a timeline that you think will be done?
I think that I don't think there is, because everybody heals differently and in their own way, and there's not really a time limit on healing. But I think meeting with other women who have been in similar situations as yours could be very like, can give you recognition and make you feel not alone. And you can see how they're going in their healing journeys, and just know that everybody's journey is going to look differently. But I'm proud of you for being here today, and I'm sure your son is very proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. So I look forward to seeing you next week.